Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, and welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And today we are going to talk about recently departed filmmaker. But before we jump into that stuff, it's been a number of months, so I figured, how's everyone doing?
Not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
Cool. Yeah.
This would be like what, our season 3? So it's like the second time we take a break or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is A Couple of Flicks entering our 3rd season.
Nice.
So I mean, have you guys watched anything lately?
Yesterday I watched The Whale. I got to see that.
Oh.
Nice.
Did you like it?
Yeah, enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Fraser killed it. Yeah, he was real good in it.
Excellent.
Definitely deserves that nom.
He's probably gonna get it, I assume.
Yeah, so far it's looking like it.
Yeah, a lot of buzz at least for him to get it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely want to because Aronofsky's always can be relied upon to be very expressive. So
yeah, bring your tissues.
Yeah. Oh, good idea. It sounds like.
Yeah, I cried a bunch during it all throughout, and then was just openly weeping at the end.
Yeah, it's like when it ended for me in the theater, like no one wanted to leave. They're like kind of hiding your face.
yeah, I was like, oh, don't look at me.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like Brendan Fraser has made me cry before. So.
What is that? Airheads or whatever that Sandler movie was.
Oh, I do remember seeing that. I don't really remember it. I remember him in it though.
I don't know if I've seen it, but
yeah.
Used to be on Comedy Central so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It might be one of those movies that I've never actually watched from start to finish, but I've seen enough parts of to basically know everything that happens.
Yeah.
I think actually there's a few Adam Sandler movies I feel that way about. I've been trying to watch all of the Best Picture nominees at the very least, and I've watched most of them. But I want to see Avatar: Way of Water personally, even if it makes me a dork.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it either.
I plan on it the next, I don't know, week or two. I assume it's going to be out for a while.
That's what it looks like. So people are still going to see it. So
I was just kind of hoping to wait for it for Disney Plus or something.
They say it's one of those movie theater ones you got to see in the theater.
Well, I don't think I want to see it in 3D, honestly, because I already saw the first one in 3D, and it's like enough is enough. Like I want to see it because it's about water and swimming and stuff like that. And I love movies about water. Like Deep Blue or The Big Blue, whatever that movie was called from the 80s. Is like I remember I watched that movie like more than once. But I don't know if I want to see a 3D movie that takes place in water. That almost kind of sounds too scary. The first one I enjoyed because it was like rolling in grass and leaves and wildlife. But if this is in water, that's a little scary. I don't know. Yeah. That's why I didn't see Titanic in 3D. It's like, who wants to see people drowning in 3D?
I didn't even know he made a 3D of that.
Yeah, it came out somewhere in the last decade. It was like in like 2013, I think it was. I don't remember.
I saw that when I was a kid, and to this day I'm scared of boats. Just because of Titanic. I don't like going on boats because you never know when an iceberg's gonna pop up.
Oh gosh, yeah, and that movie really like kind of puts you in the headspace a little bit when the people are kind of realizing that the place is gonna, they're like the boat is gonna be like underwater in an hour, and they're like downstairs. It's just terrifying.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I don't know if Avatar is playing in 3D anywhere too close to here, so probably just watch it in regular.
Yeah, I'm ready for whatever. Yeah. I don't really want to see Elvis, to be honest.
Oh, I don't. I'm not gonna watch that one. Yeah,
I
skipping
will.
that.
I'm gonna give it a chance, but I don't want to see it at all.
Yeah, I didn't really have any interest until I saw like that actors roundtable that's been going around. I watched that full thing, but
Yeah, I mean it's probably not gonna, it's probably gonna be too much like visually for me. I don't know. I don't really enjoy most of Baz Luhrmann's films. Yeah, so
nominated stuff, and it's also nominated for Razzie for Tom Hanks.
yeah, and I didn't even know Tom Hanks was in it. So
Yeah, he's like the manager of him or something.
Yeah,
I just don't like music biopics in general. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan.
yeah. And then Women Talking, I just want to see because I've heard it's really good. So yeah, it's, and I also want to see Two Leslie or Leslie, whatever it's called. Yeah, like those are like my two movies I want to see the most right now, basically. So just out of curiosity.
Mm. Yeah.
What about you, Zach? You think of anything you want to talk about?
I'm slowly making my way through like the top Letterbox 250. I just finished the Godfather trilogy again.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that still.
I don't know. The older I get, the less I like those movies. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, I remember rewatching them and not enjoying them as much as I did the first time. So I probably won't rewatch them again for like a really long time, just because I just don't want to ruin them for myself. Like once is enough, I guess. They're considered like some of the best movies ever, I guess, but watching them once is really, that's really all you need. You know, you get everything the first time.
yeah. And I hadn't seen the third one, and it was always like, oh, it's shit. So I was like, yeah, it can't be that bad. It is.
Damn.
Yeah, that one was not very good.
Oh, and another one that actually, what didn't Blonde get for the Oscars? The actress, she got on.
Yeah,
and then for the Razzies, it got worst film or something. Or at least nominated. So
yeah, I don't know why she got nominated. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah,
her accent came out so much, and I don't know. They just didn't feel right for the role.
Yeah, I like the physicality of it, but it was like, yeah, like you said, the accent did kind of come out of here and there, so it wasn't really a perfect performance, honestly, but it was a daring performance, which is, you know, it's interesting to see a daring performance like that be nominated. So, I enjoy it, but even though the movie is like not, yeah, I don't know, it's not really that great at all, really. So
I'll have to rewatch it if we do the Razzies episode.
yeah,
oh,
that might be a possibility. But yeah, it's interesting to think of the fact that Blonde is an Oscar nominated film now. So
Oscar and Razzie, yeah.
or is a film that has a nomination. Anyway, so all right, let's dive into the meat of this episode. So Albert Pyun, he departed from this world November, I forget which day,
22nd or 24th, I think. I just looked it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
It's in, yeah. Which is obviously very sad because he actually, his movies actually do have a bit of a fan base. Unfortunately, our first exposure to him on this show was not so grand, as it was a film that we risked our lives to watch, Urban Menace.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So,
We were bad boys when we watched that one.
indeed. But karma, because the movie itself ended up being a rather punishing experience. So actually, apparently, I was reading about it, and I guess like a lot of the footage they shot for that film was lost or something. So they had to make up the lost footage with like raw edit material that wasn't in good shape, and some of it was in black and white, which is why the whole movie looked kind of blurry.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and there were a lot of like superimpositions done apparently to finish the film. So, like knowing all that, it's like, oh goodness gracious! But at the same time, it was made at the same time as two other films, so it makes sense that it would have come out a little incoherent. Anyway, regardless, we're going to discuss 3 Albert Pyun films, and we are going to start with.
Well, you seen? I just went quick. Have you seen his Captain America?
I've seen like a scene or two from it. What, Zach?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
I almost thought about picking it, but I was like, nah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we might want to do a part 2 to this episode. We might want to re-explore Albert Pyun's career some more in the future. Maybe in even in the near future. We have to think about it a little bit, but it seems like he has actually a pretty interesting degree of versatility.
Yeah, like the way I feel like it was like you could see it. I don't know. It just went downhill the longer, like, because we did it in decades, and like it feels like his newer films were worse. They progressively got worse.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But we are going to start with your choice, Zach. So
which I guess is his first movie, I guess.
Excellent.
Sword and the Sorcerer.
The Sword and the Sorcerer. Yeah. So you already know what kind of movie this is going to be. It's going to be a sword and sorcery story. So
epic tale.
I beg to differ on that one. Not so epic tale.
No, pretty generic, really.
Well, these kinds of movies were actually pretty popular in the 80s, I think even Lucio Fulci, like they were especially popular with Italian filmmakers. Lucio Fulci made Conquest.
And of course,
Beastmaster. And Ruggero Deodato, who also recently passed away. He directed Barbarians, which have the Barbarian brothers in it.
Yeah.
Did I tell you? I think I told you guys I met one of them.
Oh, no, I don't know that.
He lived kind of nearby where I live. Like he lives just like a few miles, or lived, I should say, just a few miles away. And he was like
from where you are now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he passed away. He passed away recently. But he was pretty odd, actually. He'd like walked around and he dressed like a pirate, and he always spoke in rhyme.
Okay.
And he was always doing like weird stuff. Like one time he left like a suitcase at a gas station and like all this crazy stuff. I don't know. And he also tried to direct a movie, which if you look on YouTube, there's actually scenes from, I don't think the film ever got finished. But some friends of mine were filmed in it and got paid to be in it as extras.
So he filmed it in your area, or your town?
Yeah, a few towns away. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Could have been in it.
Yeah, the title of the movie was called like Fleet Street Quarter Tavern or something like that. I forget. And like the scenes from it they're like cut up and they're all over a bunch of different channels on YouTube if you look around hard enough. And they're strange stuff. I think he had like a Jesus complex or something.
Like obsessed with Jesus, or he felt he was Jesus?
He just used a lot of like Jesus imagery, and he like kept on doing like the hands open thing again and again, and like he used a lot of bright lights shining on himself and made himself look like a crucifix a bunch of times. And he also did a bunch of music. Yeah. Anyway, that's a huge tangent I just went on. In any case, that's what one of the Barbarian brothers was up to before he passed away, sadly.
Well, there's a tie-in. You said crucifix. There's a crucifix and sword and the sorcerer.
Indeed, there is. But anyway, Zach, yeah, go ahead. Why did you choose this movie?
So Scream Factory released it on 4K, and I bought it a while ago. Like, I should probably watch this.
Nice.
I don't know if it deserved a 4K release, but because the audio track they used was shit. So I mean, I don't want to get into the specifics of that, but
He seems to have problems with audio tracks, I guess.
yeah.
Go on.
I was just, I'll just read the Wikipedia.
Yeah. Might as well.
King Titus Cromwell and his men land on Tomb Island in search of Zusha of Delos, a long-dead sorcerer who may be the key to overthrowing his rival, King Richard, whose land of Eden is the richest in the world. And I just want to say, Cromwell is played by Richard Lynch, which I found was weird.
Yeah, he was in more than one of these kinds of movies.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in crime thrillers.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. He was actually kind of busy in the 80s. He's one of those peculiar actors.
Using one of Zusha's worshippers to awaken him, Cromwell convinces Zusha to join his cause. With the sorcerer's black magic at his command, Cromwell easily lays waste to Richard's formidable army. Eventually, Cromwell becomes eager to be rid of Zusha, fearing that the sorcerer could turn against him. He stabs Zusha with a dagger and chases him off a cliff. Yeah, that sorcerer got defeated so easily.
Yeah, that stunt too, of him jumping off the cliff looked risky because it wasn't like a straight cliff. It was like kind of a slope. And it was like, I wonder how they got that. And,
did you see the impact? I can't remember. It cut just before it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, the stuntman did die in the making of this movie, though.
Oh, did they? Yeah. Probably that.
It might have been. I don't think that was
that
like
cliff wasn't like a big straight drop. It was a like fairly, angled one. I was like, that guy must have had some jump on him if he could fly off and not start smacking the cliffside. So maybe it was him.
Yeah, I think it happened during rehearsal, from what I understand. I think it was somebody who like said they were prepared for the stunt and then they weren't, or something like that, or something got messed up. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I remember reading something like that.
Yeah, classic actors. Can you ride a horse? Hell yeah, been riding horses all my life.
Yeah, and then it's like.
With only one army left to defend the city, King Richard prepares to lead the charge against Cromwell in a last-ditch effort to save Eden. He orders his family to evacuate to the river and entrusts his youngest son, Talon, with his triple-bladed projectile sword.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Quite the weapon.
That made me think of Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. It looked more like just a giant like cooking utensil at first. I was like something they like chop pasta with or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then he just started shooting.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I saw the 3 swords from like the cover and stuff, but I didn't know it was gonna shoot.
Yeah. It's pretty creative right there.
Yeah.
Got to do something different for all these sword and sorcery movies, I guess.
And that's the
Yeah.
sword, I guess, yeah.
There's got to be
The
something
titular
distinct about.
sword.
Yeah, yeah, for real. And you know the way it was done. I mean, it the effects weren't like the greatest, but they looked like cool enough. Like you could see what was going on. Like it was edited really fast, so you know it didn't linger too long on how hokey a couple of aspects of it looked. You know?
Mhm. And I dare to say the effects in this movie were the best of the 3, even though it was the earliest.
Oh yeah, especially the end.
Yeah.
The ending.
I would have to agree.
It was the 80s, so everything was practical, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I was disappointed that all the fights, like the wars and stuff, they just said they happened and then showed a bunch of dead bodies. We didn't really see any of the fighting, at least in
Yeah.
the wars.
Yeah. It's something he does a lot in these movies is he explains what's happening and
And they'll just say, "Oh yeah, this happened," and then show the
Yeah.
aftermath.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. What happened to show not tell?
Yeah.
Yeah, he even did that in Urban Menace, like right at the beginning of the movie. It was like the apocalypse
yeah.
happened, people died, and it was like, oh my goodness! And it showed all this stock footage of like riots, and you know, and he likes doing that. So
He instructed the boy to avenge his death should it occur. While searching the corpse-littered battlefield, Talon comes across McGullen, his father's closest advisor. Gravely wounded, the old soldier confirms the battle is lost. At that moment, Talon spies his father in the distance just seconds before his execution. Enraged, Talon wants to claim his revenge, but McGullen warns him that Cromwell will be heading to the river to intercept the queen. Talon desperately races to the river on horseback, but is too late to prevent his tenacious and devoted mother's death at Cromwell's hands. Which I don't know how the other guys got there before he did, since he left earlier. But
This movie is very Games of Thronesy.
yeah,
Fast teleporting, beheadings of fathers,
oh yeah,
lots of
There was even-
prostitutes.
yeah. There's even a game of. Oh yeah, definitely the betrayals, and there's even a good old fashioned Game of Thrones wedding scene too. So
Yeah, they had a red wedding in here.
oh yeah,
after narrowly surviving an ambush and a grievous hand injury, Talon manages to evade capture and flee from the kingdom. 11 years later, Talon returns as a seasoned warrior seeking to avenge his family, even as the sinister Zusha vows to repay Cromwell for his treachery. In the city of Eden, a rebellion has begun under Prince Micah, son of King Richard's closest advisor, who many believe to be the rightful heir to the throne.
oh yeah.
Technically. I mean, I don't know if technically is the right, but I would think Talon would be the actual heir, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make more? But I don't know if they even bothered to ask him. I think he at least didn't want it to, but
Yeah.
He's kind of a douchebag 11 years later.
yeah,
Yeah,
sword for hire.
pretty much. He goes from somebody who doesn't know what he's doing to somebody who's overconfident and then ends up getting crucified.
Literally.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh.
Sorry.
After confirming the final plans with Macaulay, Cromwell's war chancellor, Micah relays the news to his sister Alana, where Cromwell suddenly bursts into their hideout and battle ensues. Although Micah is captured, Alana flees through the city streets, but is eventually cornered by Cromwell's rapacious goons. She is then rescued by Talon, who easily dispatches her assailants with a turkey leg in his fists.
Oof.
Yeah. Good old fashioned medieval turkey leg weapon.
Yeah. That was like around when she was like, I didn't bring you here to get drunk or whatever.
Yeah. And what confused because they kissed during that too. And what I was also confused is because when the mom at the very beginning was captured, it looked like she also had a daughter, right? That got taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that I thought they were technically brother and sister. If that was because she was supposed to be the next princess or something. That's why he wanted to marry her or whatever. I was like, are they doing some Star Wars stuff here too? Or but
More Game of Thrones.
or
Yeah.
Just Game of Thrones too, of course, yeah. I don't know. It must have been a different girl and we never saw the sister again.
Yeah, because that's what I thought at first too. But then they kind of just like forgot about the sister, I think.
Yeah, or my other thought the sister may have been was that prostitute that was helping the rebellion, that blonde one.
Oh, yeah.
Could have been
yeah.
her, but they didn't say or anything.
Well, I mean, maybe they forgot to film the scene that explains it.
Well, they
I mean,
did, and just the mics were turned off, and they forgot to grab the audio. I was like, damn it!
Yeah.
Screw it.
They
Or
forgot
just
the NPR. Oh,
Or
yeah.
it was a throwaway line.
Yeah, that we just missed.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so. I mean, one word I can use to describe Albert Pyun's style is economical. So
This seems like a bigger budget than his others, maybe just because it was his first. But it's the
it was a
bigger...
$4 million budget, I think, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80s money.
And he, actually got really, he got really cheap sets and worked sort of low grade, from what I understand, and ended up actually coming up with something with a certain degree of personality, I guess you could say, as far as these sort of generic sword and sorcery films go. At least there's some good, like, visceral moments here and there that are memorable. I mean,
And like the sets and stuff were pretty decent, and there were a crap ton of extras and background people too. So
yeah,
that's not
they also used a lot of natural lighting too, which is not super common from what I understand in these kinds of movies. I mean, they didn't. I think they used some, stage lighting and stuff here and there, but I think they relied more on natural lighting for a lot of other scenes. So
Yeah, you could definitely tell with the 4K I was watching. So I was watching it during the daytime, and like it's too bright in my house to watch it. Some of those.
it's another Eternals. Because that movie, don't watch it in the daytime because you won't be able to see a damn thing on the screen. So
Yeah.
I never planned on watching it.
oh, okay.
Not as bad as people say.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked it, but yeah, it was hard to see certain scenes. So because I watched it in the daytime.
Yeah. Hate that when that happens.
Yeah.
All right. At a nearby tavern, Alana learns of her brother's imprisonment and asks Talon to rescue him, along with a faction of rebels who have been recently trapped by Cromwell's forces. Unable to bribe the lustful mercenary with 500 talons of gold, Alana reluctantly offers herself to him for one night. Satisfied, Talon departs on his mission, but Cromwell's men arrive shortly thereafter and capture Alana as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
People get
I remember
captured
that.
a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Those Cromwell guys seem to know what's up.
Yeah, I guess they're everywhere. Yeah, there's a fight scene every 3 minutes in this movie. It's but one thing you can say about this film is that it does, tend to move rather quickly. Although at a certain point, it also kind of becomes mind-numbing too. So
Yep.
Yeah. Because not a lot of the fights aren't. I mean, there are a lot, but they're not great either.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like, okay.
yeah,
Successful in freeing the rebels, Talon infiltrates the castle through the sewers and is able to rescue Micah, but is subsequently detected and captured by Cromwell. After forcing Alana to marry him, Cromwell invites the 4 neighboring kings to their wedding and feast, where he intends to assassinate them with Talon crucified in the dining hall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and just from like that last convo when they're in that play, there's a lot of sword euphemisms in this movie. Where they just refer to swords as their dicks.
yeah. The Sword and the Sorcerer definitely has a sense of humor that is rather phallic-centric. You know, like at one point she's like, "What? You don't think your sword is big enough, or whatever?" And she said it in like that ridiculous, like adult film way. It's just, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're at that wedding now.
Yeah. Before the plot can be carried out, Talon summons the strength to pull his hands free of the crucifix just seconds before the rebels, led by Micah, storm into the dining hall and overpower Cromwell's soldiers.
That was my favorite part, when the father storms, like orders them to attack. Oh, I love that. That might have been my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, it was one of the better parts for sure.
Yeah, that's when the energy kicked up for me. You know,
Yeah,
that's when I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm into what's happening again.
yeah. This is definitely one of the cases of like, beginning's okay, the middle sucks, the ending's okay again.
Definitely.
Yeah, and like all those guards, or not guards, but the people that went to go save them in the fight, they're all like super bros with Talon for some reason. Like they all got captured and they were like, yeah, we love Talon. He did this, he did that. And that came out of nowhere because we were just led to believe he was some random sellsword, but apparently he was going across the land helping everyone out.
Yeah.
One of the kings like was looking at him while he was crucified, and is that Talon? We can't stand for this, even if it leads to a war. We have to save him. So obviously, he was pretty popular throughout the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Lynch's character went too far, basically. So.
And it was also funny how those guys got released. Just a bunch of prostitutes came down and unlocked their gates and let them out.
That was excellent.
Oh, and there was also that one chase scene. I don't know when it happened, but it happened a little before that, where Talon was just running away from everyone, and he just busts into a giant room of naked ladies taking a bath.
Oh, yeah.
Just a huge room of like 20 naked ladies. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What
are they doing in there? You'd expect if it was like a brothel, there'd be some dudes in there, but no, it was just full of naked ladies.
Gotta put them titties in there somehow.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Pyun.
Yeah, there is quite a few naked breasts in this movie for sure. You know, I didn't expect there to be so many, but then again, you know, sword and sorcery, 80s. I mean, when I think about how many I've seen, it's like they all have boobs in them. You know, so I think even Beastmaster does.
Oh like, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Cromwell attempts to flee the castle with Alana in tow, but Talon intercepts them. While he and the rebels clash with Cromwell's guards, McKelly takes custody of Alana and brings her to the catacombs beneath the castle, where he reveals his true identity as Zusha. Although Cromwell tries to intercede, he is overmatched by the sorcerer, but Talon is able to resist Zusha's magic powers long enough to strike him down with his projectile sword, which is he didn't use that any other time besides the beginning up until then.
Yeah, didn't even show up really. Like he just randomly grabbed, like someone threw it at him while he was like jumping over a crowd of fighting dudes. Like, where'd this even come from? Who threw that to you, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I expected it to be used more. So
yeah, just use turkey legs instead, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be more badass.
I guess so.
You can eat and fight at the same time. So.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
And also, there was that subplot of who is the demon dude, because like, whatever Cromwell thought Talon was for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was his like Littlefinger, Game of Thronesy looking Littlefinger guy. I was like, he seems like Littlefinger. Is he gonna betray? Yep, it turned out to be the demon all along.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
I think George R.R. Martin watched this and it inspired him.
Oh yeah. What was that?
I say maybe. Yeah, but I also didn't like. Did Cromwell not recognize him the whole time? Like, I didn't understand that either.
I guess.
Yeah, that would have made sense if he did in this case. So
I don't think like I thought it was gonna be like when he finally pulled out his sword or something. Like, oh shit, you're that kid or something. But
yeah,
Yeah, I thought so too, but I don't know. I guess he just didn't remember the kid at all.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just some kid shot some swords at us. What the hell was that? Oh well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely thought they were gonna do more with that plot line, but
Yeah, no. He had to just tell him that who he was. He was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I remember you, I think.
Yeah, it would have made more sense. But whatever. I guess they just at that point, they're just trying to get rushed to the big spectacle, I guess you could call it. So
yeah. He then engages Cromwell in combat, finally slaying the evil king. Afterwards, Talon saves Alana from a giant constrictor snake, but Zusha suddenly rises again, prompting Talon to finish off the sorcerer with the blade concealed in his gauntlet. A little Assassin's Creed shit right there.
Yep, he had an Assassin's Creed hidden blade in him.
Yeah, the effects work was pretty cool looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little schlocky, but I liked it. So.
Yeah, like a transformation scene where it comes out of the dude's head.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he splits open, so.
Yeah, there's one good head slice in one of the fights.
Yeah. Yeah, there's even that also, like at the beginning, there was that wall of heads and stuff too, which was gnarly. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he made one of the guys like just puke up his guts or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah.
Having no wish to rule a kingdom, Talon yields the crown of Eden to Micah, and Alana honors her commitment to spend one night with her brother savior. As Talon and the mercenaries prepare to leave Eden, they are approached by Rodrigo, a member of Micah's rebellion, who asks to join them. Talon agrees, and the group sets off for another adventure. The end credits promise a second adventure.
I don't think it ever happened, but
It kind of did.
Okay, so that sentence did answer the question of he was offered it, I guess, and declined.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, there were no sequels to this?
There was a kind of a sequel.
I saw one just called Sorcery or something, right?
So it was, I forget what it said at the end of the credits, but it was something different. But the kind of sequel didn't happen until when did this come out? 2010.
Uh-oh.
Because he has a movie called Sorcerers in '98. I guess that's not it.
No, it's Tales of an Ancient Empire. Kevin Sorbo is the lead.
Let's watch it. No, I'm just kidding.
Huh. 2000. Oh God, these later movies aren't great.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm a little tentative.
Yeah, and Kevin Sorbo, like
Exactly. When was the last time Kevin Sorbo was in anything good? I mean, Hercules, Xena, those were like the 90s, so.
It does say in the IMDb, like, connections follows The Sword and the Sorcerer in 1982. So I don't know how well or what, but
Okay. All right. Well, maybe one day, perhaps, but not. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's Sword and Sorcerer.
Sword. Yeah. Okay. The Sword and the Sorcerer. Yeah. Basically, just your sort of standard sword and sorcery tale. The hero, down on his luck, manages to achieve something great, takes down the villain,
gets the girl.
The villain is super villainous. The good guy isn't particularly good, but I guess he's not that bad.
Everyone loved him. I don't know.
Yeah, he
he was like a douchebag at first.
Yeah. Might just have been a smart ass, but with a heart of gold.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. What were your overall thoughts on it, Zach?
I don't know. I was kind of hating it in the middle, but the end scene kind of redeemed it for me.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3.
Nice.
I originally gave it a 2 because the middle's, I don't know, it was just so damn boring in the middle.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It does kind of become a slog at a lot of points, like. But I don't know. I didn't really hate it that much. I enjoyed it. It was fun. There were a few parts where it was a little hard to keep my attention. You know what it kind of reminded me of a little bit was, what was that movie, Space Raiders or whatever that we watched?
Oh yeah.
Where it's just like that kid shooting stuff, and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Actually, this movie also sort of reminded me of Cyborg, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Like, that film kind of follows the same plot as this. Like, there's even a scene where he gets crucified.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Albert Pyun. He directed Cyborg.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Which makes me curious to rewatch it.
Interesting. I liked how Talon ripped his nails out. Just
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, he looked like he was in a lot of pain up on that cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd give it about like a 2 or a 3. Like, I'm sort of in that ballpark area. Like, I didn't love it, but it was pretty entertaining. I mean, I've seen a fair number of these types of movies at this point. I've seen Kroll, I've seen, all that stuff. So this was not as good as a lot of them, but it was also more memorable in some ways than a lot of them. I think the thing I like most about it is how much it made the most of its rather noticeable at times, kind of low budget. So
yeah.
I looked it up. It would be technically like 12 million in today's budget for inflation.
Yeah. Which, might be doable. So I don't know. What about you, Nick?
It was all right. Yeah, definitely. I went in with way lower expectations from what I've known of Pyun. Because this was, at least it looked like a movie, like normal shots and sets and Just not just a bunch of random shit thrown together. I mean, there was a bunch of random shit, but it was at least kind of strung together cohesively. A little
Yeah.
disappointed the sword wasn't fully featured throughout.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but yeah, pretty boring for a good chunk of it. Yeah, very reminiscent of all these fantasy type movies. But I'd give it like a 2.5, I guess, right down the middle.
Yeah, all right. So, on the whole, we would all agree that it is a fair film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely admire aspects of Pyun's directing style in this movie. So, um,
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, he's the most competent. I definitely haven't seen everything he's done, but
yeah.
maybe since this was his first, he had a more thought out structure and what he wanted. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my pick here because I chose the 1996 I think it was, or 1997.
6.
Okay, yeah, 1996 movie, Adrenaline, Fear the Rush. So the reason I chose Adrenaline, Fear the Rush, it was for two reasons. One, because I read a little bit about it, and apparently, like, it was a theatrically released film, which interested me. Like,
Was the
because
Sword and
it's like
Sorcerer not?
the Sword and the Sorcerer was, but and it actually did really, really well in the theater. It was a huge success. So, like I think it made like 35 million or something like that.
Damn.
But Adrenaline, Fear the Rush did not make back its budget. I don't think. I don't think it did very well in the theater.
It says media box office 37,500.
Oh, what was the budget on it?
It doesn't say the budget, but I'm guessing it was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was released by like Dimension, Miramax, or whatever. So this was a Weinstein released production.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and apparently they actually had Albert Pyun. They had him reshoot and re-edit his movie. So, and apparently, like the longer version exists. And I looked on YouTube, and I think I saw it on there. So I probably should have maybe looked for it a little bit and maybe watched that version instead. But whatever. I watched the Dimension Miramax version. But the other reason I chose this movie is because I remember seeing the preview for this movie on several VHS tapes. Like I remember seeing it on the VHS tape for Super Cop, and I know I saw it on the VHS tapes for like something else. And that title always made me laugh. Adrenaline, Fear the Rush. Like and I like the fact that it was spelled like without an E. Like,
Yeah.
Adrenaline was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Well, that's funny. But yeah, so Adrenaline, Fear the Rush. So this movie, it's kind of like that movie Split Second that we watched a little bit.
Yeah.
Except not exactly. So basically, all right, so I guess Eastern Europe, some kind of virus turns into a plague, and it causes this outbreak of like a pandemic outbreak thing that that kills a bunch of people, and there's refugees that I guess travel to Boston.
Yeah. More
Yeah.
contemporary, if I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, more contemporary is The Last of Us on HBO.
Oh yeah.
Kind of doing this starts out in Boston after, a plague outbreak. I was like, oh, Boston, huh? What's that?
Should have mentioned that in the stuff we were watching.
Yeah, I've been watching that. Watch the next episode right when we're done recording too.
Ooh, yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's really good.
You played the games at all?
Yeah, I played through the first one.
Yeah, people compare it to games all the time, but this is like really good,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
spot on to the game.
Yeah. Very impressed.
Excellent. I'm glad. All right, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, so all this is explained at the beginning of the movie. You know, plague ravages Eastern Europe. People travel to Boston. It ends up becoming a quarantine zone situation.
And again, told, not seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, with all three of these movies.
yeah. At the intro of the movie, you get the same thing. You get people with the hazmat suits. You get all the running, the screaming, the rioting, all the usual newsreel footage. Like,
Said stock footage.
yeah, stock footage, and you know, whatever. I mean, at this point, I'm used to it, so I'll just go with it. What I didn't expect was how much Boston in this movie ended up kind of resembling Romania, which makes me wonder why didn't they just have it take place there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
It
mean,
didn't look very even American city like.
Yeah, and then like Christopher Lambert's not even. He's all what, French?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just seemed kind of like an odd choice to have it set in Boston, but not actually film it in Boston. But whatever. Anyway, film opens up. So that's just the backstory. The film opens up. There's some thugs on the street. I think one of them pees on a wall or something like that. There's like a weird distorted fisheye lens effect that was kind of making
I was
me
going to
sick.
mention this too. I did not like it. It made me kind of nauseous watching.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why they had to start the movie off that way.
It was throughout too, I feel. I was like, I got kind of like nauseous watching this movie.
Yeah, there were some headache-inducing scenes in this film, I have to admit. But yeah, so the thugs are hanging out. All of a sudden, they get attacked by some dude. He's like all gnarly looking. His face, he has like weird monster teeth, and his eyes are all bloodshot. And he's just going nuts and starts killing them. And he's running around. And so then the dude from Wishmaster shows up. A bunch of other fellows in suits show up. And they all get killed. Like a bunch of people get killed at the beginning of this movie. It's ridiculous. And then, so basically, all right, I'm going to cut the whole thing real short, real fast, and just kind of summarize the basic plot is that this guy is infected with some kind of contagion that in 2 hours is going to, I guess, grow and affect a large portion of the population. So there's like this huge danger, and it's sort of, you get pieces of it throughout the movie. Like most of the movie is basically Natasha Kinstridge. She's a police officer, and we get a little bit of her backstory at the beginning. She, I guess, has a kid. She's trying to get some kind of passport so she can leave Boston because it's quarantined, and so she somehow gets an illegal passport. But now she has to deal with this situation where there's this contagious dude who keeps killing people. Like he kills a bunch of people in some random building, like out of nowhere. Like they don't even set up what the building is exactly. Like I get the sense that it's some kind of warehouse, but there's like a bunch of hospital equipment in it. Like,
yeah, and what's also weird too is they do mention it's contagious, but spoiler alert, no one else gets infected. It's just them chasing that one guy down. He just I don't know. It's not as, I guess it's not a zombie, but it is. You know, they say, oh, you can get infected and turn into one if you're bitten, but he just kills them and doesn't infect them. He's the only one in the whole movie that they're chasing down and shit.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if it's just like, if it's all just a big scare tactic or something. Like, I don't know. It was very strange, but for whatever reason. Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for more once they like got under the building and stuff.
Yeah. I thought at least one of like the cops was gonna get infected or something.
Yeah.
It would have made the movie have like higher stakes, which would have at least been helpful, so but I don't know, maybe it wasn't in the budget. Like,
Yeah, couldn't afford all that makeup for another guy. Just had to use it on the
yeah.
one.
Yeah. They had to film this movie in like empty warehouses, which is basically what they had to do with Urban Menace too, actually. So now I'm starting to, now I'm starting to form a loose connection between these movies, and like it's getting kind of interesting. So, um, so this is kind of like the next evolution of Albert Pyun. This is killer in a warehouse mode, Albert Pyun.
Yeah. This is like what, a year before Urban Menace? Urban Menace 97?
I think Urban Menace was I think it was like late 90s, like 80, 98, 99. But
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is
before then.
Yeah. It might have been filmed the year after.
Maybe.
Because his movies get filmed and then released like 2-3 years later sometimes. Like, so who knows? But Natasha Kinstridge from Species is the main character, and she has to basically go chase this guy along with some other police officers. I think like one dude gets all freaked out, and he has that one line where he's like, that one guy gets decapitated, and he's like, I don't want to go in there. I'm scared, but going in there ain't gonna bring him back, or whatever he says. Like, that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And him and some other lady police officer, they like disappear and reappear throughout the movie. This movie kind of reminds me of Resident Evil.
Yeah, they did have like the Raccoon City suits on.
Pretty much. It was like, oh, these are Resident Evil style police officers, and
can't aim for shit.
No, yeah. And let's see. Also, Christopher Lambert eventually shows up, and I guess he's like a separate police squad team. Who he's part of a separate police force who's like the tougher guys, I guess. And he kind of takes charge of the situation to a degree, in the sense that he kind of just barks orders at Natasha Kinstridge the entire time. But I guess it ends up working out in a way. All right. So basically, the majority of this movie is Natasha Kinstridge and Christopher Lambert chasing this dude down tunnels, down hallways.
It was dumb. That's one thing. That was my biggest complaint. Is like they spend so much of the movie of them just walking around the warehouse and in tunnels and just nothing happening besides them chasing him down.
Yeah, and every time they get close to him, they shoot at him a bunch of times and they miss. So like that happens like at least 4 times. I mean, these guys, when you say they can't aim for shit, you said a mouthful. They can't aim for shit. They miss this guy, aim. And that's it. Yeah,
Stormtrooper aim.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But that infected dude somehow knows how to wield a weapon or a gun and has, hero aim. He just is popping people left and right, not missing a single bullet.
Great and shit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this movie has a plot twist that I didn't see coming, which I appreciated. Christopher Lambert, he manages to scope out the infectant, patient 0, at one point, and surprise, the guy has a gat and gets him in the hand.
While they're in that vent. What kind of fucking vent was that? It was like cement, like all dripping down with water and shit, and like it wasn't like a metal, like it was the same size as you see in like action movies, but it wasn't a metal vent. It was like nasty and all. Like, who the fuck would want to breathe air coming out of that vent when it's like they're swimming through puddles in the vent?
Yeah, I could only. My only guess is they must have been in the sewer level at this point. So, and at one point he gets like stuck and has to climb out of this one part, and she's standing there doing nothing, and the monster is right behind her, and then he disappears. So I guess like he's like, that would have been the perfect time to kill her. I don't know what the hell the deal with that was, and and then another thing, these people, they suck at actually communicating with each other too, because they're constantly doing jump scares again and again.
At
so
each
the-
other.
Yeah. So the scared dude and that other lady show up and freak them out, and so they team up. But then after that, there's this whole situation where they think that they locked the guy in this large sort of it's almost like a like the entrance to like a blocked off like crawl space that was never built. Basically, it's like one of those sort of places that seems like moderately large, but it's like a series of hallways, I guess. But they managed to lock him in that area, but these idiots keep opening the door to check and see if he's still in there.
Yeah, they got to make
I mean,
sure.
Yeah, because they can't figure out if there's an exit, and they don't want to go in there because they're afraid they're going to get killed. But eventually, the
Yeah.
scared dude decides to go in there.
That one the scared lady was like from that area, and she said, "No, there's no way. There's no exit. He can't have gotten through. He's definitely locked in there." But they were like, "No, we got to make sure."
Yeah. And so they accidentally let him out. Because the guy, he screams. It's like another one of those things where they run and then the door's wide open. So it's like, great, thanks for that. And then eventually the Christopher Lambert character and the other lady get pinned down. They get shot a bunch of times. And let's see what else
Oh
happens.
yeah, he gets lit up.
Yeah.
So does the scared lady. They like because he was firing down from like the vents where they climbed down into the prison. Just and firing down, and the main girl was kind of just hiding behind a wall, watching them get fucking riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
And he was just like, shoot him.
Yeah, and she does, upon his orders.
She shoots at him, kind of.
Yeah.
In his general direction.
Yeah, but she still misses. It takes a while for these people to shoot at him, or to actually hit him with their bullets, so. And eventually he starts torturing them as well. I think this is around when he kills off Christopher Lambert and the other lady, so. And then the scared dude, he shows up, manages to actually.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be the one that got turned, if anyone was gonna be turned, because they ask him to go get help or more reinforcements, and like they say, and leave some ammo with us. And then he like gets attacked off screen, or like gets attacked but doesn't die on screen. So I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna get turned, but no,
Nope.
for some reason the guy let him live, and then he just comes back to save the day.
Yeah, he comes back, saves the day, manages to actually make a difference as far as saving Natasha Henstridge's life, which then enables her to blast him basically and kill him after some fighting, of course. And then that's pretty much it. She takes over. She gets out. The Wishmaster dude shows up. He's all grumpy for whatever reason, even though they just stopped a fucking massive killer virus from killing a bunch of people somehow. I don't know why he's angry, but for whatever reason he is. She gets what did she said she got Christopher Lambert's job, I guess.
Yeah, and got to keep the passport or something.
Yeah. Yep. They said, like he said, yeah, get her kid and take him out of here or whatever.
Yeah. So happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Albert Pyun style,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's all we are. We are peons in the face of Pyun. I mean, this movie is kind of the opposite of Swordless Sorcerer, in my opinion, in the sense that the opening parts and the ending parts were kind of lame. But I kind of dug the hallway stuff at times, even though a lot of it was really dumb. I liked how it kind of felt like a video game, and how the characters kept on disappearing and reappearing, and how the dialogue was so awkward. I mean, I don't think that was intentional, but I still kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. I didn't hate it, but I mean, as a movie, it did kind of suck. But I don't know. I mean, I was still moderately entertained. I mean, for 77 minutes, it doesn't really. It does feel kind of slow and sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a different sort of like there were some aspects of it that kind of reminded me of Sword and the Sorcerer in the lighting department as well. How both films used like low grade lighting. This film used it, I think, to lesser effect than Sword and Sorcerer. Because a lot of it was kind of confusing and disorienting, and there was also a lot of screaming, and the characters were a little bit obnoxious. It wasn't the greatest film, really. It kind of felt like a movie I've already seen. I can see why it didn't do very well in theaters, honestly. I guess I'd give it a 2 because I've definitely seen worse movies of its kind, but it certainly isn't like something I'd recommend, honestly, even to a lot of like B movie fans.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still enjoy Albert Pyun's ingenuity overall. So
Yeah, he seems to like making movies, even if they're trash.
yeah. Yeah, he's really he's desperate to make the plots make sense. That's the thing, and he sacrifices everything to try and have that through line, which often sort of makes them even more confusing, But at the same time, I have to I find it sort of charming. So you can tell all this dude wants to do is just make martial arts films, So, but he doesn't want to do it in the typical way. So
Yeah.
So in that sense, he kind of reminds me of John Woo, but
Yeah. I mean, for me, I found it all right, but it was real slow. There was just so much of them running through the fucking warehouses and tunnels and stuff. I was like, fast forward. I didn't fast forward, but I was like, should I?
yeah, you could see why somebody would. Yeah, like
And you wouldn't
it takes
miss anything if
you wouldn't miss much.
Yeah, there's a lot of filler scene. Like the scene where he gets stuck in the tunnel took like a whole 3 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he takes forever to get out.
Yeah, but it was fairly followable plot wise. You could, it wasn't too confusing. So just some random plot holes, like he didn't infect anyone. So they're just chasing a crazy dude down in a warehouse, in a prison, technically, I guess it was.
Yeah, I guess so.
And yeah, I don't know. I'd give it a 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Hard to think of many good things to say besides it looked like a movie, like some of his other ones.
Yeah. The actors looked attractive when you could see them, I mean, there wasn't a lot of lighting on their faces, so it was hard to see them, but Natasha Kinstridge and Christopher Lambert, I mean, I like their faces. So. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it really boring. Not a lot happened. They really struggled to make that 77 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah.
Apparently it was, like you said, the studio got involved and it was longer. So I don't know what they cut out, but I don't know if I could do it because it says the longer cut is 94 minutes, so they cut 20 minutes out of this.
Oh damn!
So I don't know if that's could have made it better or could have made it even more boring, but
I want to see it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to track it down.
And I read somewhere that apparently he wanted it to be like a real time, the whole movie in real time. So I don't know if that's what the longer cut is, and maybe it is more boring, but yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, he used a lot of handheld camera work in it, which was interesting. I mean,
yeah,
you don't see that in a lot of action 90s movies, really. I mean, not like in that way, like using an actual film camera handheld like that. It's just not something you usually see. So
Yeah, definitely, it needed more action and like some more infected. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
just chase one guy the whole movie. Come on,
Yeah.
like how confident are these people not to at least like get a good aim or something?
Yeah. Those scenes were the most frustrating when they just kept on shooting him again and again. They wouldn't run out of bullets, but they would just keep shooting again and again and would miss. They'd shoot everything but him. Yeah.
I think I gave it a 1.5.
I think that's a pretty fair rating. I mean, how would you both feel if, since this was in theaters, how would you both feel if in 1996, let's say you were however old, and you went and saw this in the theaters, would you feel ripped off?
Oh, I probably would have loved it as a 6-year-old. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at that age, probably would have. No, this is neat.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But
all right. Well,
if that was me in '96 at this age I am now, I'd be like, "Oh, damn it,
Yeah.
damn it, just wasted
boring.
money
Yeah.
on this ticket."
Darn it. Yeah. And then I feel bad because then the next day I'd read that Albert Pyun died, and I'd be like, "Oh no, I just trashed his movie."
Yeah, that's how I felt when I watched Cyborg as well. Like I would have loved this as a kid, but I don't now in my 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those nightmare movies but I'm tempted to rewatch it again if we ever do a part 2 or a part 3. There's a lot of Albert Pyun movies I want to watch. Actually, I think I may have seen one of the Nemesis movies, but I want to see Hong Kong 97. That's the one I'm most curious about.
Curious about the Kickboxer sequels.
Oh yeah. I forgot he did those.
And all the Nemesis ones. Like,
Yeah.
4 of them?
Yeah, 4 Nemesis movies in total. So I know I have at least one of them on VHS. I just don't remember which one. So
I forgot about that one too. He did one with Andrew Dice Clay called Brain Smasher.
Oh, really? Huh?
Brain Smasher, a love story.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was a 90s Albert Pyun movie, but the next one is not from the 90s.
Nope. It's from the mid, I guess. I don't know, 2000s, 2007. So,
Okay.
and it was my choice, Left for Dead.
Yes.
I chose this because the name popped out. Because there's a video game series that's good called Left 4 Dead. I was like, this isn't that, because it's made by Valve, who's very protective of their IP and stuff. They don't let anyone do anything with it. So, and also just the poster was just a girl, like a cowgirl with a gun. I was like, all right, this poster looks good. Let's give it a watch. And it was bad. This one was so bad. It was like the worst, easily the worst of the 3. In so many ways.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I said, like, in the beginning, like, I don't know what he was doing or thinking, or how his process into making films went along as he went into his later career. This is just like bad filmmaking in general. Like, none of it looked good. Like, the other 2 movies at least looked like movies, but this one was just like so poorly shot in general.
Yeah, it was very like they tried to do like the whole sepia thing, but it just looked like overdone. Like, it was really distracting.
Yeah,
So.
It had like that early 2000s like kind of digital film look to it, but like with a I don't know, brownish overtone, like it was in the westerns or whatever. But you could totally tell it was like digitally enhanced like that.
Yeah, it's like heavy filter.
Yeah. And then just on again, like just for general before I get into the plot. Like there was a bunch, like there was so much slow motion of just nothing. It wasn't like slow motion fights. It was like they would be talking. They would just be talking, and it would go into like slow motion of them like responding and talking. It was like, what the fuck?
Freeze frame.
So much freeze frames. Like if like you count up all the freeze frames they did of them just talking too, it would be like 10 minutes probably of just a bunch of freeze frames. Took up a good chunk of the runtime.
Yeah. It really this movie was really hard to watch.
Very
because
hard.
like it kept on, like when it did the freeze frames, like so sometimes my Wi-Fi isn't the greatest, and sometimes it like freezes and stutters and does weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it kept on doing that for this movie.
It looked like it, yeah, because mine was good. I generally have good connection, and I was like, why? It just looks like it's lagging. Like, but
I thought it was lagging. Like, and it kept on like repeating shots and freeze framing shots and slowing down shots and doing all these weird like post-production effects, but they looked really post-production-y. Like none of it looked in camera. And it kept on pulling me out of the movie and pulling me out of the story. So I had a really hard time following what was going on.
It's probably the worst editing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was like frustrating. Like every time it would do a freeze frame, I'd be like, oh, God.
Yeah. I thought it was just the intro, but it kept going.
Yeah. I thought it would stop after a little bit, but nope. Because it was kind of made sense in the intro when they were doing it when they were like introducing the characters, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, but they just kept doing it randomly throughout.
Yeah, and after a while, it really started to kind of hurt. Like this one was like, I don't know. Like, I don't mind a down and dirty type of Western, and so like I like the fact that they were sort of trying to do something like that with it, but the editing just really made it hard to even get involved in the atmosphere. So
yeah. And then just more production wise, like the sound mixing or whatever was fucking garbage as well. Like there was one scene right in the beginning where like they were talking, and then it cut to one of the girls, and you could just hear like the wind, like they had no like windscreen or something, and it was just like a loud gush of wind over her voice talking, and then it cut right back to the main character talking normally. And sometimes they even, I think, just subtitled characters talking because they didn't get good audio and you couldn't fucking hear them.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue was subtitled. Some of it was subtitled because it was like in Portuguese and Spanish, but
yeah, the main character would switch between English and Spanish or whatever he was talking, which was fine for that, but they also just subtitled because the people were fucking whispering.
Yeah.
But anyway, the plot. We'll get into the plot now. It starts off with like a little exposition dump, title cards. I guess some priest in a town called Amnesty in the 1800s or whatever cheated on his wife with a... So this movie's about whores. They say whore a lot. It's all about whores. He cheated on his wife but wouldn't leave his wife for her, I guess.
Right.
So the whore went crazy. And with the title card, I had to write it down word for word because it was hilarious. It was like the second title card. The whore went insane. And with the other whores, they killed every man, woman, and child. Direct quote.
But you don't see it. They only show a title card that says that. It's like a white words on a black screen title
red
card
words.
Too. What?
It was red words,
red words. Sorry.
And you kind of see it throughout the movie because of the ghost powers he has, but
right.
Yeah, so the preacher, I don't know, makes a deal. It says on another title card, he makes a deal with the devil to exact revenge. And then we skip 15 years later. We're following this girl named Clementine. She runs into this group of girls that, I don't know, I mean, it's exposition of some sort as well, that they once led a whole woman colony that, I don't know, got destroyed or fucked over by the main character, Blake. The main male character, Blake, I guess.
Right.
It's a bunch of interesting little characters. The blind lady.
Yeah. At the beginning, she encounters like these two ladies who sort of try to do the deliverance thing. Like one of them is like threatening to like tie her up or something like that, and then the other lady like attacks her or does something weird. Yeah. And so she kills her by hitting her with her rifle.
Yep, beats the crap out of her with the rifle. Yeah. But yeah, there's her. I don't know. A lady that's obsessed with gold and shit. Mother character, and then like a daughter of her that's pregnant. I think there might be another couple. I don't exactly remember all of them, but
that's so many people get killed in it. It's
it's the basic little crew. So I don't exactly remember why, but I guess Clementine says that she wants to go kill Blake as well, get revenge on her, and supposedly the pregnant girl, it's her. I don't know who it's his daughter maybe, or his.
It seems like it's that they have the same father. Yeah, like that, or that their kids have the same father. Like.
Yeah, that the pregnant lady's pregnant because it was a little confusing because they also said that it was an immaculate conception at one point.
Yeah,
but that turned out not to be true. I think they were just saving face or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going looking for Blake. They find this town. They find the town Amnesty, which is where that preacher dude that we learned in from the beginning, he can't leave it because he's a ghost and he's just confined there to wait to get his revenge. So yes, and the Blake's there because I guess he was just chased down by, I don't know, some bounty hunter, because he has a bounty on his head, and they chased him in there. And somehow they knew he was there.
Oh, and then like so what was the deal with the ghost dude who like was in the graveyard or whatever, and was like, there was like that part where like they were shooting at him and the bullets were disappearing, and it was like Terminator 2.
The main ghost guy?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's just the ghost, the preacher.
Preacher turned cowboy.
Yeah, it was like, it's kind of weird. Like, He looked like Jared Leto. It reminded me a lot of him. But, yeah, he was just Mobius too. I don't know if that's a connection, but he also looked like Jared Leto, and instead of Morbius, it was Mobius.
I wonder which movie is better, this or Morbius?
Morbius.
I haven't seen Morbius yet, so I don't know.
Neither have I. I've been afraid to. That's why I'm a little nervous about the Razzie episode, because I'm like, oh, Morbius.
Yeah. So they're wandering around the town looking for what's his face. They find him. They're like, I think they just hold up in a church because he can't go into the church.
Right.
And it turns out that Clementine is actually his lover, or his wife that he loved. And there were lies spread about him that the bounty wasn't, like, he's supposedly, forced himself upon that girl.
Yeah.
Whatever, and got her pregnant, but that was all a lie. The girl wanted it, and he was just having a good time while he was out, because he left Clementine to go make some money mining for gold or some shit, and he would return later, but he never did, so she went out and looked for him.
Yeah.
So
and at one point I thought she got pregnant too, but I guess not.
Yeah, she did. That was revealed later.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so yeah, first, yeah, I wasn't sure, so
Yeah, yeah.
it was a little confusing because yeah, the audio and stuff. So.
And just the general shittiness. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do. The thing about this movie is that like the editing is really tricky, and you have to actually be paying attention to what's going on if you want to
Very
follow it
closely, very closely. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard to pay attention to. I mean, this movie presents quite a brain challenge. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, it took me like
it's no Blueberry. Oh,
to
yeah.
watch it. Took me like 3 or 4 times to finish it.
Yeah, I was rewinding it a bunch. Just like, so what's going on here?
Yeah.
So like when they
Yeah.
were captured, when they captured Blake or whatever, I was like, okay, so now these ladies are bad guy or whatever, and then they did the flip where Clementine actually tries to save him because she loves him and they're lovers or whatnot. So and now she's captured by these harlots, these whores.
Yeah. The majority of the characters in this movie are like evil, basically. So
Yeah. And they're torturing him.
yeah. Which actually, there was some okay practical effects here and there at that, but unfortunately, a lot of the effects in this movie are digital. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they look it. So
Yeah, there was like the hook in his skin. They were hanging him by the hooks.
yeah,
Kind of. Yeah.
that looks kind of gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, how did they get it? I know that, I don't know, they just start walking out of the church, I guess, or something.
Yeah,
'Cause
they
know,
scream their way out.
They know Mobius is around, and before, like before, like the ladies, the whores made it to the town. Blake kind of befriends Mobius by not being a bad dude, just misunderstood, and then offering him a cigarette as a token of friendship or whatever. And he's like, "Been a long time since I had a cigarette, and never had a friend."
Oh God.
Yeah,
So
well,
silly.
I think Mobius just takes some pity on the dude in general, kind of, but
Okay.
does ultimately fight him and shoot at him eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, while they're trying to escape, we get the backstory of the whores. Those fucking whores. They're the ones that we got the title card for. That the one that just killed everyone in that town.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And like the mother character was the whore that that he slept with.
Yeah.
And,
Plot twist.
Yeah. And I was still and we get like, because like when you touch him or his guns and shit, it gives you visions of what he sees and stuff. So that's how they're kind of like showing the backstory of people like hallucinating and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, you see it now, but I'm always seeing it." So yeah, we see throughout just like the whores killing his wife and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm still
Kind of gnarly.
and I'm also overall confused on who's the. Oh wait, no, I guess it was Blake. Was the dad of that pregnant girl, right?
Yeah.
His girl, because they just
Yeah, he
slept
was-
together, but he didn't love her or whatever.
Yeah, he was the father of both her kid and the Clementine's kid. So
Yeah, and we get the backstory that Clementine did have a kid, but
yeah.
as she was pregnant, she was trying to make it over to Blake, but she got captured and lost the child during being captured and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
It's
And she
really
was
savage.
carrying the baby as well. She was carrying the dead baby corpse, I guess, that whole time because
Yeah.
they buried it.
Which was pretty gnarly.
That was
So,
kind of gross.
yeah.
Yeah. Um. And then, and I'll just so the way the gold girl died was funny. She was just out harvesting gold, and he just came up to her and she almost got him. Like, it was
Yeah.
like a distraction. She hit him with a pick a bunch, and then, like stole his gold tooth, and like she was like, I killed him. He's not breathing." And then she started, harvesting, and he just gets up and starts ripping her teeth out and killing her. She was kind of like the comic relief character because she was kind of dumb and
right.
whatnot.
Which is why she had to have her teeth removed because she had, it was like punishment for her mouth or whatever. I guess it's trying to be symbolic of the Gothic Western archetype of style or whatever. I think it's Gothic Western. It's either Gothic Western or neo Western or it's Gothic Western. But...
Yeah, so the horrors are dropping like flies. It's just the mom, the pregnant lady, Clementine, and Blake left, and they devise a plan to get out.
Yeah.
Clementine uses the mom as bait. She's like, "Yeah, you go first." And then she says, "Okay, it's clear." And the ghost Mobius appears behind her and she like caps her in the leg. And Clementine's like, "All right, now we have time to get out of here." and they escape-ish because that mom was the initial horror, and he wants to get his revenge, so he takes a lot of time torturing her and shit. Or you get some pretty gnarly fucking scenes out of that too, like of them killing the wife, and then they have like a doll baby that's all like fucking on a hook and shit that they're throwing around and tossing around and fucking. I was like, oh, this is a little much.
Yeah, it's a very extended, brutal type of sequence. They're really trying to like, make you really like feel like harshly toward these characters, I guess. Yeah.
So while he's torturing her, the pregnant lady has the baby.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, touching, I guess, but not really because it's a shitty movie, but it's supposed to be touching. Because I noticed one thing that they were playing. It must have been because it was around the same time, but I don't know if you guys watch Lost.
Oh yeah, the piano theme.
Yeah, that score was going on. It was like during some of the most heart-wrenching scenes in Lost, where there's this big crescendo of like not Penny's boat and shit. They had a really good score in Lost when like really emotional things were happening, and then they were playing that same score and they were playing like that same score basically with a little probably legal twists to make it not completely that, but I was like, what the fuck? They're just ripping the Lost soundtrack out of this?
Yeah.
Because it was happening during emotional quote unquote parts of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they did try to tug at the heartstrings, but like you said, just the slow motion and the smeary lens, it was just like,
yeah. Just did not work. But
not quite.
They get into so they eventually they're all fight, like Blake and whatever's fighting them, and somehow I don't know, he gets shot, the ghost gets shot with his own gun because they're like wrestling with it, and they figure out his own bullets kill him. That's how they gotta kill him, is with his own gun or whatever. But the heart, and Blake at one point tries to, but the gun, when you touch it, it gives you hallucinations of whatever he's seen. So he's like, I can't do it. And like he gets shot. Blake gets shot down in the stomach. Which they reiterate a few times. Oh, stomach wounds, they hurt, but it takes days to die. So it's mentioned throughout the movie. It eventually comes down to a face-off of Clementine and Mobius. And she I don't know, disarms it. No, like Blake disarms him, but she gets the final shot in him and kills him with his own gun. One of his own guns. He had like two, but kills him. Gets sucked into some portal thing. CGI shit. I did notice too, one stupid ass scene too was earlier when I can take it, like Clementine's like, I can take him out. I won't miss, because all the other because they also had really bad aim, connection there. Like and Mobius had a nice little one liner. It's like, oh, so this is what it's like to be a side of a barn door, like, or whatever that's, that saying is, like, you couldn't hit the side of a barn.
Yeah, the broadside of a barn door.
Yeah. So he was like, oh, this is what it's like to be the broadside of a barn. Because they were just, and like she said, the bullets had no effect. And Clementine was like, you didn't even hit him. Let me. And she just shoots at his dick and it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah. She certainly looked pissed off.
But yeah, that's about it. They say, I think all three of them make it out. Well, four with the baby, I guess now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a happy ending.
Yeah, I guess there'll be a little polygamous family out in the West. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if that's what they're wanting to do. So yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, and I'm not entirely sure what I got, but like I said earlier, it's no Blueberry. So
Yeah, definitely not.
yeah.
I
I mean, that was more of a psychedelic Western. This was, yeah, like I said, more gothic Western.
I mean, yeah, I had higher hopes because the poster was cool.
Yeah.
And I like a badass chick protagonist, but this one, she was just kind of annoying for the most part.
Yep.
Okay.
And then even this was the last one I watched too, so I was like, oh, maybe Pyun can make, cause the other ones are, watchable films as they go, but this one was just like garbage thrown into a blender and shat out.
Yeah.
And for a movie about whores, 0 boobs. Come on, what the fuck?
That's true. I didn't even realize.
This movie was literally revolving around whores, and there were no boobs.
Wow, that's unusual.
Half a star.
Yeah. I think that's fair. So, what about you, Zach?
Yeah, I give it a half as well. I could not get past the fucking editing.
Yeah.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say the editing pretty much kills the movie. I don't mind when a Western tries to be down and dirty and tries to be like true to the desperate times in which they lived. Like, I like movies like The Proposition and stuff like that. But yeah, I could sort of see certain aspects of what they're trying to go for here and there. And I actually kind of like the lead actress a little bit. Like, she didn't really get a chance she didn't get a chance to do much, but I could tell that there was there was something there. Like, there were moments in the film where she looked like, genuinely terrifying. And
yeah, she had the look down and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the writing or something wasn't, well,
The writing
it definitely wasn't good. But
yeah, the writing didn't do her any favors. I'd say she was the highlight of the film. That and some of the practical effects were pretty cool when they used them. They didn't use them very much, but I liked when they did. And I liked how gnarly those parts were. So I'm kind of, the movie was so hard to watch that I couldn't recommend it, but I almost want to give it a higher than a 1. I'm tempted to, and I'm divided between a 1 and a 2 because I see glimmers of something that could be good here, but it's just hard to find because the movie keeps freezing and going all blurry, and then remember that part where it was going backwards? It was what the heck? Oh yeah.
I was gonna say there's no coming back from that editing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's it's shot on early digital, which is the shot on video style of that decade.
Yeah.
You guys know I hate shot on videos.
Yeah. That's understandable. Yeah. I mean, it very rarely is it used effectively. Like 28 Days Later is like one of the only examples of a movie that made it work. So
Oh, there was that one funny scene with that talking head dude.
that was funny. Yeah, there were actually a few parts in this movie that made me laugh. Like some of the acting, some of the screaming. Like,
I thought Mobius looked cool too.
yeah, he looked and sounded like a villain. It's like, ooh. I mean, it felt like again, it felt like video game cutscenes. Just confusing, awkwardly written, awkwardly acted, voice acted. Like
it could have been cutscenes for sure.
Yeah, like it felt like just a series of cutscenes. Yeah, go on.
They could have been directly from like PS2 games from that era. Like,
yeah.
Oh, most definitely. Like Gun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that the third film that we were talking about of Albert Pyuns didn't end up quite succeeding at what it was going for, but at least it was different. At least he tried something different. Didn't work, but it's always worth a shot to try and reach out of your comfort level as a filmmaker, I would imagine. So I'll give him some points for that. So, but I don't know. These movies were odd enough that I would love to do a part 2 Albert Pyun. So
yeah, I would.
So we could do that.
He has a nice, pretty decent sized catalog.
Yeah, I agree. So, but we don't have to do that right away. We can talk about that another time. In the meantime, I guess that concludes our Albert Pyun special. So,
yeah.
Now, yeah. Yes, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess so now we're gonna do something we sort of done before, but different. Do you want to explain it, or?
Yes, we've done the whole to-be roulette is what we usually do.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna do it with the theme of the episode. I don't know if we want to film the whole process. Well, I'll cut out the whole process because it's probably too long. But
okay, yeah, that's fine.
So it's on a wheel. I'm trying to here. I guess since I'm on an iPad, I can flip this camera around.
Oh yeah, understood. I think there's also a way to Here
we go.
Oh, I see. All right.
So
okay.
Shuffle these up and see what we get.
All right, sounds good.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Pandemic 2020.
Oh, nice.
Nice. All right.
All right.
No, I didn't read that one, did I?
So are those ones that were filmed during it or about it?
Filmed or about.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to do something different for a category.
No, the wheel has spoken.
All right.
I'll try to find a pandemic movie, and I guess. Cool. All right. So do all three of us have to find one, or just?
Yeah, we can. Unless you want to do a one-off.
Yeah, it's up to you guys.
I know there's plenty of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So should all three of us just choose a pandemic movie, and yeah. All right. Cool. Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode then, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll cut that up so I don't have to read all the categories.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, the next episode's the one-off. Probably should mention that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Yes. So, before we talk about pandemic movies, we are going to talk about because we weren't able to get to it on Halloween, the film that you chose for Halloween, which was Demon
House of Horrors, Gates of Hell.
Yeah, House of Horrors, Gates of Hell. So we're going to watch that this week. for our next episode, and then after that we'll be discussing pandemic movies. So, or movies that take place in 2020 pandemic. Either or. So
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird ones.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
That's a good theme, I think. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of shitty ones.
I could send you guys like letterbox lists if it helps at all, but
yeah,
Sure, yeah.
cool. And do they have to be bad movies, or can they be good movies? Like,
they can be good. Yeah,
cool. All right. I haven't decided if I want to choose a bad
that's
one.
like a very specific genre. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Well, that'll be fun. So we got a couple of things to look forward to on a couple of flicks. So that's good.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, have a good night. And once again, R.I.P. Albert Pyun. So yeah, sweet dreams, everybody.
Have a good one.
see ya.